G'day, I'm Regan from Pool Systems. I'm the Gold Coast and Northern New South Wales BDR, and I'm joined here today by Todd to go over some of the Hayward pumps, the new SuperFit IIs, the EcoStars, benefits, pros and cons to these pumps.
Hayward's been in the market for a very, very long time. They were an irrigation company way back when. A gentleman called Oscar Davis used to work with them. He then bought them and found he was an innovator in the way of pumps go, because he invented the very first plastic wet ends. So we can all thank him that we're not carrying around cast iron, cast aluminium and wrecking our backs doing those. We just do it with standard pumps these days that are heavy enough. It is the 100th year of Hayward. Not 100 years in Australia, of course, but 100 years operating as Hayward entity, starting off as a small company in one little small factory ad and building into a global company that we are. We're in, I'd say, 80 countries around the world. We have many factories around the world: China, America, Canada, Mexico, Spain. All our electronics for our chlorinators come out of France, so very much a multinational company, but with one focus, and that's giving you guys the best pools you can have. We supply sanitization units, and you'll notice I didn't just say chlorinators. We also have our brand new HydroPure, which is your UV ozone units. We also have pumps. We have our suction cleaners, and we also have our robots. We can pretty much control the water from coming out of your pool to going back in your pool.
This is the new SuperFit II pump from Hayward. This was brought into the market to act as a retrofit for Astral pumps. So this will retrofit or bolt straight into any existing CTX, E-Series, Viron, so P320, P520 pumps. I think these are a great pump. Very robust design, simple things like the unions on these pumps. They're very solid. The pump basket on these are a lot bigger. The design of the wet end, a lot more efficient than your Astral. So for example, your Astral CTX 281 horsepower pump moves about 280 litres per minute at 8 metres head, whereas this 1 horsepower pump will move about 320 litres per minute at 8 metres head. A lot bigger basket than your CTX, so it holds a lot more leaf debris. So all around a very solid pump, very reliable, and very efficient.
This comes from your 3/4 all the way up to your 2 horse. Regan stolen most of my thunder with what he's covered, so he's covered pretty much everything. We also have the variable speeds that come in a 1 horsepower and a 1.5 horsepower unit. All our variable speeds are assembled here in Australia because the motors come from different factories. From like our SuperFit, the motors come from Thailand, wet ends come from China. We do the full assembly and everything is 100% wet tested here, so minimising leaks in those applications.
Yeah.
And you know it's going to at least start up because we have to start it up to wet test it.
So Todd was telling me a little before about the manufacturing process behind the wet ends and why they're different to your competitors. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, one way we get efficiencies, and that's simple hydraulics. You have your diffuser and you have your impeller. All our impellers are machined. They're not just cast and then put in your wet ends. Every one of them's machined, giving you a balance. You can have higher tolerances, lower tolerances. So your infuser and your impeller are closer together, giving you a higher pressure, so you're able to move water at a higher head. So that is one thing we're known for, is our engineering and our reliability in that, and that you're going to get hydraulically efficient. Not everything comes from what's outside the wet end. You know, yes, you have to have a really energy efficient motor to get your stars up, but you've got to have that wet end, which is all Hayward. So that is one thing that has always impressed me about the Hayward brand, even when I didn't work for them. So we'll cover that over. In my prior roles, I was in an electric capacity. I used to do everything before the wet end. Hayward always impressed me with the engineering behind their wet ends. So that's why it was a pleasure to actually join them in that field. Yeah, so that's why we can get those things to produce what they produce.
Yeah.
When we go through our different ranges, you'll see that we're always pushing for that next step, pushing for that goal of being the best in that area.
And that's why these pumps can move an extra 40 litres per minute compared to competitors in the industry.
Correct.
Yeah.
Our warranty is 3 years. We also give, on our wet ends, because we love them, we actually give 5 years.
Which I would call an industry-leading warranty on a wet end.
Look, some of our competitors actually do that too. So, you know, I'm not going to say that we're the best in that area. They do. But what I would say is I've never had one returned. In the 4 years I've worked for Hayward, I've never had a wet end returned that's cracked. So
After 5 years, mate,
I've got another year to cop that, so I'm outside warranty, but well, they've been selling them for decades now, and I've still yet to see one come back that's cracked. So, and we know that in Australian backyards, a lot of customers are not the nicest to their pool equipment, and we can all agree on that. But yeah, they've always been really robust. Regan said about the basket, there's one thing that I do hear in the marketplace about some of our competitors' baskets, that matter actually gets past this and gets in the impeller. It sounds like a really small thing, but that hole there is exactly the matchup for this hole here. You'll see that our baskets actually are very formed to the outside. So when the two meet, it's a tight fit. You're not going to get that leaf matter past. Simple little things really make a big difference to our service industry jobs, because they're not having to pull down a pump to get to an impeller to take a gum nut out or a leaf. It's going to be caught in one of the largest baskets on the market. The great thing about this, it's a swap and go. It does come with unions, and they are over-engineered. You could nearly use them as a hockey puck. They're not going to break if you hit them with a hockey stick. They are over-engineered to an nth degree. But you can use the Astral unions or any other retrofit pump in the marketplace as unions, and they will instantly adapt to this unit. You don't have to cut pipe to put new unions on. You can use the existing unions there. As long as they're in good working order, they will join this unit up.
So that not only covers your Astral pumps, but any of your Davey DSF series, Reltec PR series, anything that's designed to retrofit an Astral pump will also, this will bolt straight in for that. Another thing with these is if you install this brand new out of the box, you cannot put an Astral pump back in here. Todd, do you want to tell me why?
Our unions are actually slightly longer. So those unions, because we've got a full threaded body, they accept everyone's unions. When you put our unions on there, you can only put a Hayward because they're such long threads, giving you more surface contact, less leaks, making it easy for you guys, and have that confidence that when you tighten it up by hand, you're not going to have to come back in a week and really wrench on it, put Stilsons and get it there. You've got more physical contact, reducing that leakage.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always been a thing that, you know, oh, there's a slight leak. Instead of going in there and just adjusting an O-ring or greasing an O-ring, sometimes people will come in and give it a bit of an extra tighten and break your union. Give it an extra tighten. I've yet to see one break. Okay, variable speed has a variable speed motor. We haven't got one here just a minute, but they are a 3-speed, fully variable. They can communicate with our Aquarite and our OmniLogic system, so you can control them externally. They have RS485. You can switch between modes. You can turn off the priming feature or turn it on, because if you're running an in-floor system, sometimes you may wish to turn it off and just control high speed via your control unit and run that for a certain amount of time. You can program one of your speeds to run your suction cleaner, so you don't have to use a suction plate or those. You can just simply put your hose straight in and set your speed to run that system. You can save probably 3/4 of your running cost using a variable speed. So that's where your savings happen. Yeah. Regan, what's your experiences with the SuperFit selling them?
So far, they've been an awesome pump. Feedback from customers is they're just solid. The footprint as well, so overall footprint. So the motor, it's a smaller pump.
The 1 horsepower, yeah.
The 1 horsepower is a smaller pump than an Astral 1 horsepower pump, so you don't have to worry about room if you're in a tight spot. Overall, yeah, feedback from customers is they're just a solid pump, and I can see them lasting for many years. All right, Todd, so I've just purchased one of these new Hayward SuperFit pumps, this awesome looking pump.
Yep.
I want to install it, retrofit, so I've got a Astral CTX 280 there. Where do I go from there?
Okay. The things I would look at is, are the unions still good on the old pump? If they are, still in perfect order, they haven't been sun bleached because we've kept it in a shed. The simplicity of it is, I undo the unions on the CTX, take the CTX out of situ, and literally put this in its place.
Put this in.
Tighten up those same unions, and off you go. And that's the simplicity of it, and that's why we've made it the way we have, to help the industry put a great pump in, you know, and be able to source, because we are known for our pumps, put what I see as one of the best pumps in the market into that situation where you can have longevity and great quality. When installing, say, a variable speed pump, the things you want to take into consideration is when you talk to your customer before you install it, find out if they've got any kind of thing about knowing the head of a pool or how many bends there are before you get to your pump room, because that will also set your head.
Yep.
And set your bottom speed for the best flow for the pool.
Yeah.
Because what a lot of the customers don't understand is the savings are at the lower speed. If you're running it at max speed, you're running a 1 horsepower single speed pump. It's where you can set your bottom speed, you're going to save your money. So setting that bottom speed for the most efficiency for that pool is the way to go. So you've got the right amount of turnover. Each one of our pumps in the manual has a flow curve, and it's very simple. You literally have your head and your speed, and where the two cross, that's how much flow you've got. And on average, 180 litres is where you want to sit. The added advantages of a variable speed: less wear on your equipment, better filtration, because the slower the water moves through a media, the better filtration, and we all get more money in our hip pocket. That's the best thing in the world. Say your pool is $800 a year to run electrically, I'm going to put $600 back in your pocket every year. So a pump that is $1,800 is paid off in 3 years. So, and every year after that is just free money. Single speed pumps never pay themselves off. So that's where you can offset your pricing. And when you, yes, variable speed pumps cost a lot more, and that is material in the electric motor. We could do a real deep dive and go into all that, but simple fact, the materials to run a variable speed motor, which is neodymium, is more expensive than gold. So that's why we say, look after them. If you can cover them, because you wouldn't throw your wedding ring in the backyard every night when you go to bed. That's what you got in your backyard.
All right, so this is Hayward's new EcoStar variable speed pump. This is the most efficient 1 horsepower variable speed pump in the Australian market with a 7-star energy rating. Todd, did you want to talk a little more about this one?
Yeah, certainly. With the EcoStar, after the new MEPS, which was a recalibration of the star ratings across all pumps. MEPS in the old days was only ever done on three-phase motors. They've now rolled it out into single-phase units. So that affected our industry with our pump units. So what we've done, we've married our 2 energy efficient pumps, which was the Max Flow and the TriStar, and they had a little baby, and it's called the EcoStar. What we've done is we've grabbed the max flow wet end and a tri-star motor. So everyone suddenly thinks, well, it's a 2 horsepower motor. It's an electrically computated motor, and we can tell it to be anything that we want. So what we've done is we've told it it's a 1 horsepower, so it will never draw more than a 1 horsepower motor. It will, way we get some efficiencies out of that, we've got extra material in there. So we, like we spoke before, neodymium, we've got extra material in there, reducing mechanical slip, allowing that then to transfer into torque into the wet end. And as the torque is higher, you have less current draw, which gives you your energy savings. It's a mathematical problem that I look at, and I think I should be on Big Bang. But it's massively long, and we all had to get our heads around it, and it took 2 years to do it. But this is what's come from it. So yeah, it looks very similar to a max flow, but the differences are in your hip pocket.
Yeah, and this pump, so being a max flow wet end, even though it's an EcoStar, will still straight swap out for any of the older max flow models in someone's backyard.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you can upgrade your max flow into this. So yeah, we're retrofitting ourselves.
Awesome.
Might as well. Thanks, I hadn't really thought of that one. But it also retrofit into the old max flow X series, which were the single speeds. So you can upgrade a single speed pump. There was an old max flow. They had the old Fasco motors on them. Yep. And put one of these in there. So you have a German engineered and German made motor and a US cast wet end. And as we've said before, all variable speeds are assembled here in Australia and wet tested here in Australia.
Yeah. So any customers out there with an old Maxflow VS or Maxflow X can upgrade to this without the cost of replumbing and start watching their energy bill come down. All right, so Todd, so this pump's only available in a 1 horsepower variable speed, which is the smallest variable speed pump in the Australian market. How does that compare to other variable speed pumps in the market? Okay,
this is where the features kind of really take off. It's one of the quietest pumps on the market. As our house blocks get smaller, pool equipment's getting closer to our houses, and your noise becomes very relevant.
Yep.
Or they're right on the fence line, and next door neighbour's got their bedroom right against that fence.
Yep.
These have a dBA that's less than background noise.
Really?
It's 55 dBA.
Very quiet.
So we're talking really quiet. We can also check the amperage usage of these units as they're running. So you can adjust that to see what it's actually consuming or how much it's actually saving you. These also have the ability to communicate with our Aquarite and Omni via cable, which is RS485. You can actually adjust the speeds on your Omni. So our backyard control system will literally control that whole unit down to RPM, flow rates. You can actually set it via flow rate. The system, you set your head, and it'll actually convert that instantaneously to flow rates. So you can tune this with these models and with everyone else's models. 9 times out of 10, you use top speed and bottom speed. Middle speed's really forgotten about. What we've been able to do is set a timer for middle speed. And a lot of our service customers use that as their service button. So if they're vacuuming a pool, they program middle speed to be what they want it to run at. Could be 2400, could be 1400. You press that and have it run for 2 hours. And because we're all time short, sometimes we forget to go back to the pool shed and turn it back to low speed. After 2 hours, it reverts back to low speed. So the customer's never excessively using a lot of energy. It'll go back to their lowest setting so they can do the full conversion. So yeah, you've got a full range. You can vary your prime time, have it on, have it off. So yeah, it's a very versatile pump in everything it does.
Yeah. That's awesome. So in the Australian market, obviously reliability and serviceability are key.
Yep.
What sort of warranty do we get on a unit like this, and how serviceable is it?
Okay, it's actually the same warranty as a Super 2.
Awesome.
So we still have, you know, we have that trust in everything we do. Serviceability, motors are non-serviceable because of all the tolerances within inside those. We have every spare part for the wet end. Yeah.
So Todd, one of the biggest pushbacks we get with variable speed pumps is customers with solar. Their argument is, why do I need a variable speed pump? I've got the solar running my single speed pump. Could you please talk a little more about that?
Yeah, look, it is a valid, you know, situation that they do have solar and it is running their pumps. My kind of question is, would you rather your solar running your pool, which you can do and you're not paying for your pool, or would you rather it for your 16-year-old's Xbox that he's got on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and your air conditioner that you're going to require during your summer when you're going to be using your pool and burning up that solar energy to run your pool, where I can go, okay, I'm going to use less power and you can use it for other items, reducing your energy bill.
Yeah.
You know, without solar, you're paying for the lot.
Yeah.
Understand? Put solar on, you've paid that portion off. But what if I said I can chuck another $600 off a year off your electricity bill by converting to one of these? So your solar's then used there. Or even if it's going back to the grid and you're getting money in your pocket again, all because you put a variable speed pump.
Yeah.
So your payback, you could literally say the payback with solar is twofold.
Yeah.
You're saving money on your pool and you're saving money on your house.
That's great, we're saving a lot of money, but there's more reasons than just saving money to buying a variable speed pump. Did you want to touch a little more on those?
Yeah, look, we've covered off a lot of them. We had sound, noise, annoyment, council regulations, because some councils say you can't run a noisy pump at night. You can run this during night. If you have off-peak power and you don't have solar, you're able to run one of these. Secondly, you've got the impact on your equipment. If you're running full 320 litres a minute through your system for long periods of time, you've got it going around every elbow as fast as it can. You've got wear and tear on your equipment reduced.
Yeah.
The slower it goes through media, the more filtration you get. And also, for that salt you do have, you actually get a higher production of chlorine and a better usage of that salt, converting it to chlorine. So all these factors come into play, like return jets, all these things, high pressure going through them. Yes, you get that lovely swirl on top of the water, but the hydraulics of your pool will move and skim anyway.
Yeah.
So all these factors, tuning it for your pool.
Yeah.
Where this is one speed fits all.
Yeah.
I can tune this for your pool, customizing it for you.
Yeah.
So there's all these options with a variable speed that you can come and use and learn from.
So customers aren't just saving money on power, but they're also saving money on their filters, chlorinators and chemical costs and wear and tear on their other equipment.
Correct.
All right, Todd, so I'm the proud new owner of an EcoStar 1 horsepower variable speed pump from Hayward.
Yep.
What do I need to do to get this set up and running my pool?
Okay. If it's not a retrofit, yes, you are going to have to cut pipe and use those unions. If it's in a tight spot, you actually come with a handle so you can lift it in and put it down one-handed. And that's another thing with variable speed motors. They are lighter. So as service techs, we don't have to be Hercules to put it in behind everything. It gives you that ability to put it in there. You then connect it as a standard pump.
Yep.
Now, this is where you can, if you are running one of our systems, you can connect via this screw port here. There is a cable that comes with the unit to talk to our Omni and our Aquarite, and you can control your speeds and everything. You adjust it to 485, and then you just control everything from the screen up there.
Yeah.
If it's a standalone pump, you would set prime time. So say you want to run in-floor cleaning for 2 hours, set your prime for 2 hours. You run your in-floor cleaning, go down to that lower speed, and you're just doing a standard filtration and all your heads can drop.
Yeah.
You just set your prime and you set your lower speed so it's operating at its optimum of turnover of water that you require for the time you require.
Yep.
And then set and forget.
Yep. Awesome.
It remembers it. You can explain to the homeowner if you wish to check, because there is boffins out there that want to know everything about their pool. You can show them that it'll actually show them the amperage usage and everything on their pump.
Awesome. And you were mentioning before about turning off prime. So if this is installed flooded suction, doesn't need a primer, if they've got a good check valve on there, you can turn off the priming feature on this as well. So it starts up on its variable speed. Yeah,
it starts up on, you can vary the time that it'll go to V3, which is your high speed.
Yep.
You can vary that too. You can pretty much program this pump to do everything except for make your lunch.
So Todd, when it comes to looking after their pump, so for example, the end user, the owner of the pool, obviously emptying the pump basket regularly, so it's not getting chocked up, because I know that everyone forgets that. What are some other things you can do to ensure that you're maintaining this pump to the best of your ability?
Yeah, lubricating the O-rings, so making sure your seals are right and that they're not drying out and cracking. Things to look out for. Mechanical seals. If you do see any moisture under your pump, double check those, because mechanical seals do wear out on a regular basis. And that's usually one of the biggest failings on any pump.
Yep. And you would see water coming out from between your wet end and motor around here, or any moisture sort of around.
Okay. You'll see under our motors.
Yep.
It's very hard to capture. You'll see between the plastic and the motor, there is actually a leak spot.
Yep.
So if any water is just starting to leak out of the pump, it drains away. A constant flow will make it to your bearings. We do have slingers in there. They can only protect us so far.
Yeah.
So yes, that is, I would say that's probably one of the biggest primary things that can happen to a pump. They run dry once or twice. You start to wear down that mechanical seal. Once that seal's gone, you've got no protection of water staying in the wet end.
Yep.
It makes it to your motor. They are a mechanical item and they burn out.
Yeah. So key to maintaining the pump is obviously keeping the pump basket nice and empty, also the skimmer basket nice and empty, good water level in the pool so the pump doesn't run dry to protect your mechanical seal, lubricating O-rings, and then also just checking for wet spots under the pump, so early signs that your mechanical seal is starting to fail.
And the next one, and it's coming from the electrical motor game, is making sure there's no leaf matter caught under the motors.
Yep. Because
they do have a drain hole in them. And if you do gather a lot of leaf matter under there, they will draw water up into the motor.
Yep.
Through heat and so on. It dries that out, vapor goes in there, condensates, and you'll have issues with your motor again.
Yeah.
So they're all very simple things to talk to the homeowner about. And you'll extend the life of anyone's pumps in the marketplace by years.
All right, well that concludes our chat today, Todd. I'd really like to thank you for coming out and chatting with us. It was great to go over some of the key benefits of your pump. So if any customers have any questions about any of the products we've spoken about here today, they can reach out to Pool Systems. If we can't help that question, we can then pass it on to Todd or someone else from Hayward to answer it.
Which we're very happy to do.